All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Wednesday, August 21st. We have a full MLB slate to dive into in today's video. Like we always do, we're going to go through each and every one of these games. I'm going to give you my lean on the side. I'll give you my lean on the total. We'll talk about any other plays, like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, all of my final plays, if you do want to fade me, all of my final plays will be in the pinned comment of this video. In terms of last night, we'll take a nice little 3-1 night. The Brewers-Cardinals Nerfy cashes. Zach Wheeler allows 2 runs, less than 2.5, and then the Red Sox team total over. They scored 3 in the first inning, and we had to wait a few more innings for them to come around and score another, but that cashes as well. The Diamondbacks team total 1 run away, and they left a ton of guys on bases, so we could have had back-to-back sweeps if the Diamondbacks just scored 1 more run. But sports betting isn't about what it coulda, shoulda. It's about what actually happened, and I still won't cry over a 3-1 night. So you know what? One more cha-ching. We are absolutely on a nice little run here. I want to say it's a 19-5 run in our last 24, so we'll put that in the thumbnail once we have it updated. But yeah, we've stayed hot. I don't know how, guys. At some point, the other shoe has to drop, right? It's sports betting. But for now, let's enjoy some of the success. Speaking of success, well, I guess it's going the opposite direction. The ride of the day, we got to drop the womp womp here on Travel at a 6-team money line parlay. 6-team parlay. I believe 3 of them came through. This is for like plus, ridiculous odds. So unfortunately, it does not come through, but a good attempt from Travel here. You guys voted on it. I said it when I tweeted it out. I said this was a psycho one, but I love it. If you guys don't know what the ride of the day is, it's a way that we can all ride on the same play together. All you have to use is that hashtag ride of the day in the comments, and then I pick the comment that has the most likes down in the comment section and jump on board with you guys, and then we get I give a shout out and you get a shout out in the next video, win or loss. If you win, we continue to ride with your next pick. If you lose, we got to drop the womp womp on you. But let's get some straight plays for the ride of the day today, because we had a couple parlays in a row and my head's spinning after that one last night. So let's get some simple ones in there, and make sure you guys are dropping that hashtag ride of the day in the comments, as well as liking everyone else's. They might have some plays that you maybe would not have thought of. But yeah, we have a really good run going on. Let's see if we can carry it into this Wednesday here. We got a full slate, like I mentioned. Let's get going here. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let's rock. We got the Mets taking on Baltimore here. Sean Manaea on the mound going up against Cole Irvin. Some sites were listing Zach Eflin as a starter, but I've seen more Cole Irvin now, so we're going to go in that direction. Now, Baltimore's been really good against lefties last 30 days. 5th best average, 5th best OPS, 6th best ISO, 5th best slugging. But I think Cole Irvin's going to be the determining factor in this one, making me lean towards the home team in the Mets. And I like the fact that the Mets lost yesterday, because now they can take 2 of 3 in this series, and it doesn't seem like they absolutely went off or anything like that, right? Like, they won the walk-off, then they lose yesterday. I think it was like 9-4, something like that. But now kind of makes a little bit more sense that they're the home team. They can take 2 of 3 in this series. We don't have to worry about them potentially sweeping, right? Because sometimes we don't like to bet the sweep. But Cole Irvin, last 30 days here, 7.5 ERA, 1.67 WHIP. Like, just does not seem like it's the best move. I think he's averaging like 9 hits per game or something like that, like 7 hits per game, like that as well. So I'm kind of just gonna fade Irvin in this spot. Give me the Mets on the money line, as well as a potential look at the team total over for the Mets. Maybe that's the way that we go just in general in the first place, instead of worrying about Sean Manaea and all that. But Sean Manaea has been pretty good. At home, he's definitely been good. On the season, 1.15 whip, batting average against of 216, and his K rate jumps up to nearly 28%. So maybe we just ride with the Mets on the money line here in this spot. But some way, shape, or form, Mets. I don't want to say that Manaea is going to have a bad game, but I still do lean towards the over to some degree, because Baltimore, again, very good against lefties last 30 days. So Mets in the over, with a potential look at the team total over for the Mets as well, kind of fading Cole Irvin. All right, Houston taking on the Red Sox. We have Justin Verlander, I think, is scheduled to start here against Boston. I believe last night Joe Espada said that it's a tentative start, so who knows if he gets yanked or something like that. This would be a spot in which you want to look, if you do like Houston and you like the fact that Verlander's coming back, maybe look into the listed pitcher betting, just so you don't get screwed if they end up starting some no-name or something like that. But overall, it's not going to affect me, because I think I'm going to lean towards the Red Sox here in this spot. Not necessarily on the money line, but another potential look at their team total over. We cashed that yesterday. If we can keep getting this puppy at 3.5, I don't see why we wouldn't. Right now, over 3.5 for -130. They've scored, 4 runs in plenty of games here. I want to say it's like 7 of their last 10, something like that. And then against Houston here, head to head, the Red Sox have scored 6-4, now 2. That was the previous game, right? 4-4-4, then 2. We're dating back to last year now. 5-17 and 7. So it's like they've been scoring 4 runs against Houston for almost 2 years now, and it seems just only a couple times they haven't. So I like this spot, and the reason I'm not on them on the money line, I'm kind of, one, you always got to trust a veteran like Verlander. Though he's been injured, still he's a veteran, and I'm kind of not all that obsessed with Cooper Criswell. To be honest here, which shouldn't be all that shocking. He's been really bad on the road as well. But what I like is that Verlander goes fastball, slider, and I've been saying and preaching into these videos for the last, 2 months? 2 pitches that Red Sox hammer, especially if they're righty. So forget Criswell, forget the fact that I think the Red Sox can win this game. The fact that we can look at, team total over 3.5 yet again for decent odds is probably going to be my move. Now, you might be saying, oh, Verlander, against the Red Sox, how is he? He's been decent, but he only has 25 plate appearances against them. The current guys on this team, not the Red Sox. Obviously, he has more experience against the Red Sox, but current guys on this team, only 25 plate appearances against. Coming back from an injury, I don't expect him to be all that tremendous. So give me the Red Sox here, team total over. I wouldn't mind leaning towards the full game over yet again. Obviously, we did that yesterday. That ends up cashing as well, but we played the Red Sox team total over. Same thing. I prefer the Red Sox team total over. If you only have the full game over, I don't mind that either. Both these offenses are good. All right, Texas taking on Pittsburgh. I believe it's Andrew Heaney on the mound for Texas, going up against Domingo Germán, who has not started, unless I'm mistaken, has not started a game yet this season. Obviously, he was a starter last year for the Yankees, but this year I believe he has 3 appearances all this month. He just came back as well, none of which were starts. He's got a 3 flat ERA with a .83 whip, which is pretty damn good. On the road, .67 whip, but we don't have the biggest of sample sizes here. Yesterday, Pittsburgh wins 4-0. Andrew Heaney, I don't really love either, so this is a tough spot. I think you can take it in either direction, but similar to what I just did with Verlander, I'm going to trust the guy that's been more consistent, or at least been pitching and starting more consistently, over the guy that's just making his first start here. So I'm going to lean towards the Rangers. Do I love this spot? No, I doubt it becomes a final play. I mentioned it yesterday. Pittsburgh hits lefties pretty well, right? Well, guess what? They win 4-0, and then today they're going up against another lefty in Andrew Heaney. But overall, this is a series in which I probably would have said from the beginning that Texas wins 2 of the 3, and this could be the spot where they capitalize on that. Now, -160, -162, whatever you can get it at, seems like an awful big price tag for a Texas team that, has just kind of been, 10 games below 500 in their record. That's a pretty damn big price tag for what I would consider not a very good team right now. So I like them over Pittsburgh today, but I don't think it's enough to pay that price. The total sitting at 8.5. I'm going to lean towards the under, similar to how we've talked about, I guess, this entire series. The pitching may not be that great, but I don't put a lot of stock or a lot of weight into the bats here. Even though Pittsburgh hits lefties better than they do righties, it's they're still not the best, nut up or shut up type of offense. They often shut up. So I'm going to lean towards the under in this spot as well. Oh, I didn't see you there. But now that I have your attention, guys, FanDuel has an amazing offer going on right now. Right now, if you bet $5, you're going to get $200 guaranteed. But that's not all. You're also going to get 3 weeks free of NFL Sunday Ticket, meaning you can watch any out-of-market game on Sunday afternoons for free for 3 weeks. So check out the link in the pinned comment. You're going to get both of those deals. Again, bet $5, get $200 guaranteed, and 3 weeks free of NFL Sunday Ticket. All right, I've been dreading this series. I'm so excited for it to be over because really, when I talk about being transparent and stuff like that, we spend a lot of time going through each and every game, finding the looks, finding the spots, both the night before, hours before, and minutes before we even go into this. And then you guys see me sometimes find plays while we're recording, right? But this one, I have probably spent a combined 20 minutes on this entire series because the odds just haven't been great. I don't believe in the Giants to be a -230 type of team, but I get it because the White Sox are so bad. But nonetheless, here we have Logan Webb on the mound going up against Garrett Crochet. I think the only thing I'd consider, and I really don't mind it, which is crazy, is the Nerfy. Like, you're telling me Garrett Crochet can't get out there and be a stud for 3 outs, and then you're telling me Logan Webb shouldn't be able to put this White Sox lineup away in his sleep for 3 outs. That's the direction I lean. I also don't mind the under, but it's way down at 7, so I think Nerfy might be the play. I also don't mind taking a peek at the first 5. So here I am, like, shitting on this series altogether, and then I do actually have some probable plays today, but I will admit it's because Garrett Crochet is on now. We finally have a capable starter on the other side. I really don't mind the idea of looking at under 4.5 if you can get it for good odds. I saw it earlier at -165. I'm really struggling to find that price again. So under 4 is like -150, but then you have push potential. I'd probably just go Nerfy or nothing in this game. And we always get the question, what's the Nerfy? It is no runs in the first inning or under 0.5 total runs in the first inning. Nerfy, NRFI. All right, next game up, we got San Diego taking on Minnesota here. San Diego slight favorites. They've won both games so far in this series, 5-3 game 1, and then 7-5 in game number 2. We kind of finally saw a Martin Perez game for his new team, in which he didn't look all that tremendous, but nonetheless, they still pull out the win, right? In terms of today, we have Matt Waldron on the mound for the Padres, going up against Simeon Woods Richardson. I don't mind taking a peek at San Diego again. They're at home. They're playing good baseball. Am I obsessed with it? No. Did I think that they would pull off a sweep heading into this series? No. So if that's the reasoning and rationale, then by all means, I don't mind you kind of leaning towards Minnesota. They have a capable pitcher on the mound and everything like that. But to me, I just can't fully get to the Minnesota side of things. So overall, I lean towards Waldron. Neither team has seen either one of these pitchers, anybody on the team at all. So who knows what that can kind of stir up. I will say that means neither one of these pitchers has any experience also pitching against batters. Like, I hate the argument of a new pitcher comes in the league from, AAA, and it's like, oh, no one's seen him before. It's like, yeah, he also hasn't pitched against these guys either. Same thing here, right? Not AAA, but I don't think that always is a benefit for the pitcher. I'm going to lean towards the over here. You have two offenses that seem to be kind of chugging along, getting into gear. Padres especially. I want to say, let's see, we have it right up in front of us. 4 of their last 6 games, they've scored 5 or more runs. 3 of those 6, they've scored 7 or more, and then 2 of those, they've scored 8 or more. So I don't mind that spot. Minnesota's offense, is kind of giving you a floor of 4-ish runs right now, so they could do their part, and the Padres could still win this game and cash an over, right? 5-4, or hell, maybe Minnesota wins 5-4, that type of thing. Point being, I think that there could be some runs here in this spot, so I'm going to lean towards the over. Probably like that more than either side, just because I could see Minnesota squeezing out a win and preventing the sweep. You know what I mean? But to be clear, I still lean Padres money line. I just see enough reason that someone could bet Minnesota. Like I mentioned, though, I couldn't get there myself. All right, Miami taking on Arizona. We have Rodri Frankie Munoz on the mound going up against Jordan Montgomery. When I give Rodri Munoz that nickname, Frankie Munoz, do people know who Frankie Muniz is? Is that like a lost name nowadays? But let me know in the comments. I don't know. But in terms of this one, we have him on the mound going up against Jordan Montgomery. This is another spot in which I would consider Arizona Diamondbacks team total over, but looks like we'd have to go 4.5 today, which isn't my dream. Honestly, just due to the fact that we saw them only score 3 runs yesterday. Now, like I mentioned, it's Frankie Muniz on the mound. Like, they should be able to get to him overall, but definitely a little bit less enticing. You could probably look at Arizona on the first 5 run line and get some good odds, but my problem is Jordan Montgomery, and I've said so many times this year, like, it's just not a guy that I trust, or I even kind of want to trust, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to like Jordan Montgomery. But the Arizona offense is still so much better than this Miami offense. In fact, we can jump into our dashboard here. If you guys want access to this dashboard, it's super simple. You get this in YouTube every single day on the posts tab if you're a channel member. $2.99 per month. We have a link in the description to become a baller. That's what we call the members. I'll put it in the pinned comment as well. But there should also be a join button if you're subscribed right next to the subscribe button on the YouTube platform. Again, $2.99 per month, and you get each each and every game broken out each and every day from a batting perspective, pitching perspective, bullpen down here. We have the pitch mix of the pitcher and the bats against those pitches. Pretty cool stuff, guys. So go ahead and check it out. But again, what I was going to say is I don't care about all this red over here. This is still the greenest part of the board, and we built this with color coding in mind so your eye can kind of be drawn to the good spots, which would be Arizona's offense. So I'll lean towards them on the money line. Maybe there's money line. I think I said money line. Maybe there's some sort of a parlay throw-in or something like that. But yeah, Arizona on the money line, and then a slight lean towards their team total. I don't mind the full game over today just because it is Montgomery, and I'm not a big fan of him. But still, you're trusting a Miami offense to carry their weight in this spot, and I don't know if I can really get there. So I think I'd much rather Arizona team total over, or keeping an eye on that money line. If you can get this in the minus 160 range, it might be worth it. It might be. That's still a hell of a lot of juice, but we had a minus 160 play last night. Actually, it lost. It was their team total over, but nonetheless, that's probably the direction I'd lean in. All right, Washington taking on Colorado. Mitchell Parker listed to start here for Washington. Tanner Gordon scheduled to start for Colorado. Mitchell Parker coming off of a game against Philly in which he pitched 3 innings, 10 hits, 2 walks, 9 earned runs with 2 home runs let up. So the dude didn't really look good in his last start. Does he have the bounce back zhuzh today? Probably. This isn't a Colorado lineup like we have in the Phillies, especially Phillies against lefties right now. So I still think that there could be some way, shape, or form to get to Washington here in this spot. Yesterday, Colorado wins the game 3-1. They lost the first 5 and full game for Washington there. So, and I like DJ Hers over Gomber. Gomber pitched 7 innings. So Gomber had one of his good days, and people are saying in the comments, like, when Gomber pitches well, it kind of turns into a different pitcher. It's like he's really bad or really good. There's not always in between. But today I do think that they should have the Nationals here a strong pitching advantage with Mitchell Parker in a potential bounce back spot over Tanner Gordon. They have the better bullpen as well. So give me Washington on the money line. Just not enough reasons for me to safely want to lean towards the Rockies here in this spot. But again, just like we mentioned with Texas, to be honest, is this Nationals team, who still isn't all that great, what, they're 56 and 60 something on the season, are they worth minus 160? Like, is that risk really worth the reward? Because again, pretty damn juicy play, right? In terms of the total, I think that, one of these teams struggles today offensively, so I'm going to lean under. I'm hoping it'll correlate to my money line lean of Washington, but, it could be just like yesterday where Washington's bats didn't even show up type of thing, so I'll lean towards the under in this spot as well. All right, guys, our Survivor pool is still open here. Entries filling fast. Go ahead and check it out, guys. $10 entry fee for your chance at just under $3,000 if we fill this pool up. Obviously, that final entry payout will be adjusted based on how many entrants we have. You can enter up to 5 times here, so you can have 5 different teams going each and every week. If you don't know what a Survivor pool is, it is really, really cool. You pick one team each and every week. If your team wins, you advance. If they lose, you're out. You didn't survive. But if you do win, you can't use that team again. You can only use one team, a team once per season there. But if you have 5 entries, you can be playing 5 different ways. You know what I mean? So go ahead and check it out. Again, $10 entry for a chance at nearly $3,000 winner take all. I'm so excited for this. That link is going to be in the pinned comment. Yankees taking on Cleveland here. Nestor Cortez on the mound going up against Joey Cantillo. Cortez at home, probably a decent spot to look at him. You have the Yankees still against a lefty, but you know what? Like I keep preaching, like I know the Yankees struggle a little bit against lefties, right? But their offense is still very, very good. And they're in a spot in which they lost, they've lost 2 or 3 straight games. Either way, they lost yesterday against this Cleveland team. Like, I expect them to come out there and score some runs today and win this one. So give me the Yankees on the money line. In terms of a total, I almost want to look at Cleveland's team total under. I think Cortez is going to have a decent game at home. Now, Cleveland does bat, I will say, lefties, and Cortez is a lefty, a little bit better than righties, but overall, Cortez has looked really good in his career against the current guys in this roster. 56 plate appearances against, a 29% K rate, an average against of 196, an expected batting average against of 172, a WOBA of 256, and an expected WOBA of 220, and then a slugging of 249. So maybe this is a spot in which we either look at like a Nestor Cortez earned run under, or Cleveland team total under, or that type of thing. If you don't like the odds of Yankees minus 170, or if you think the Yankees could struggle against the lefty as well. take their offense out of it, which seems like it could be silly if you're the Yankees, right? Or betting on the Yankees because you want their offense included. But if you want to back Nestor Cortez, I can't say that I mind the spot here. His last start, he bounced back from a really bad start against the Angels. His last start, it was against the White Sox with 7 innings pitched, just 3 hits, 9 strikeouts, no walks, and no earned runs. So maybe he keeps that thing going. And that was on the road, actually. All right, we got Toronto taking on Cincinnati. These have been 2 different games. Cincinnati wins 6-3 game number 1, and then Toronto wins 10-3 yesterday. On the mound, we have Yariel Rodriguez going up against Nick Martinez. I really don't mind Nick Martinez. I think he's decent, right? And what I love, we can jump right back into the dashboard, and I keep preaching it, guys. If you can find a pitcher against Cincinnati that throws a bunch of fastballs, it's always worth considering taking them. And look at this. Yariel Rodriguez, half of his pitch mix is going to be the fastball. And look at Cincinnati up here. Number 1 team last 30 days in terms of runs above average per 100 fastballs seen. So I really don't mind the spot for them to go out there and score some runs today overall. So I'm going to lean towards Cincinnati here in this spot. What we're getting for odds, I think you're getting shafted a little bit. Like, I think you should be getting even odds or plus 105, that type of thing. We're getting minus 105. It's a pick 'em, but you know what? We can't cry over spilt milk, I guess, like that. So give me Cincinnati here in a spot in which I think they can score a decent amount of runs. So I like their team total potentially over as well. In fact, let's look that up really quickly. Cincinnati's team total right now in terms of odds, over 3.5 for minus 150 on ESPN. Not terrible, but again, I feel like we're not getting the best price possible for any of this, but that's the side that I'm on today. Cincinnati, if I were to bet this one. I think that Yariel Rodriguez is fine, but nothing that I want to write home about, whereas Martinez, I think, has a little pizzazz there, especially against a team like Toronto, who he's going to throw fastball, changeup, cutter, sinker, like a lot of these pitches. So fastball, 23rd in terms of runs above average, Toronto. Changeup, 29th. Sinker, 13th. Cutter, 16th. Like, his pitch mix fits pretty well to be good against his team as well. So I like Nick Martinez. I like the Reds. In terms of the total, that's where I struggle because I want Toronto to not score runs today, but it's still the Reds. It's still Toronto. I'm going to lean slightly towards the under. I'm gonna stick to my original gut here and lean slightly towards the under. A spot I don't mind because I think Rodriguez could be okay through the first inning is a potential nerfy as well. We've been back with nerfies, right? We've hit 2 straight. We took a little hiatus. We've been back. We've hit 2 straight. I don't want to, blow my load all over these nerfies now. Pause. Interesting. But, to be honest, like, if we're feeling it, we like it, let's forget about the, the losing streak we had, because, like I always tell you guys, windshields are a lot bigger than rearview mirrors for a reason. And I'll leave you with that in this one. All right, Atlanta taking on the Phillies here. Max Fried on the mound for Atlanta, going up against Aaron Nola here. So Aaron Nola, I think I guess I shouldn't say I think, is the better pitcher. I think that's undebatable, right? In his last 30 days here, he's looked decent as well. He's got a 3.07 ERA with a 1.64 whip. The whip's not all that tremendous, but, it's still a serviceable pitcher, right? And above average. I shouldn't even say serviceable. Going up against Max Fried, who I don't totally believe in, but the biggest thing here, and I already mentioned it when we were talking about, I think it was when we talked about Washington, right? Max Fried is a left-handed pitcher, so I love the idea of the Phillies going up against a lefty, and then even looking more into it, this Phillies team, at least the guys on this roster, have seen Max Fried 251 times. 251 times, batting average against him of 333, slugging of 510, and a WOBA of 403. So you gotta love that. And then Aaron Nola has tons and tons and tons of experience against this current Braves roster here. 30% K rate, 234 average against, an expected batting average against of 232, and an expected WOBA of 291. So makes the pitching discrepancy even, wider, right? And the fact that it's a lefty on the side of Atlanta. I love the idea of Philadelphia going out there and scoring some runs. Now the total's down there at 8, meaning you're going to be able to get decent odds here for Philadelphia's team total. So if you don't want to trust, Aaron Nola, which I think I am going to trust Aaron Nola, you could look at Philadelphia over 3.5 for minus 130 on their team total, over 4.5 for minus 130, plus 140. So, there's ways to get to Philadelphia here, but even if you just like Philadelphia in general, coming off of an L, how about taking a peek at them on the money line for plus 105? You know what I mean? Maybe I'm too big on Philadelphia and too big on Phillies against lefties here, but to me, seems like a good spot. The one concern is that Philadelphia is, their bats haven't been all that tremendous just in general, right? So it's like the same thing I say about the Yankees. I know that they're better against righties than lefties, but they're such a good lineup that any moment, even if it is a lefty, they could still put up a big number. Philadelphia's been so shaky and up and down that at any moment they still could not see the pitcher well, but seems like they've seen Max Fried pretty damn well. So give me Philadelphia on the money line, probably first 5 if we were to do this, because they definitely have a bullpen disadvantage. But the way that I'd play the total is potentially just looking at Philadelphia's team total over, because I think Atlanta could struggle to score today. It's not like they've been, barn burning out here, right? 2 straight games with 3 runs. So yeah, Aaron Nola could suppress them. So maybe we could split this all up, right? Philadelphia first 5 money line. Then we have Philadelphia team total over. Then we have Atlanta team total under. All of those are kind of saying the same thing to me. So if you pick one of those, you're backing just what you feel the strongest part of the argument is, if that makes sense. Which I feel like I talk about plenty, but not enough. What I mean by that is, say you really like Philadelphia and they had a bad pitcher on the mound today, right? Aaron Nola's not bad, but they had a bad pitcher. You don't need to take them on the money line. You could say, go score a bunch of runs. I'm going to trust the offense and leave pitching to the side. That's why we do a lot of team totals and stuff like that, because it's ways to bet on the team that you think will win without having to have them win. Like, hell, they could score 4 runs. Atlanta could score 1 million, and the team total still cash because we believed in them a little bit today. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, St. Louis taking on Milwaukee. If you guys made it this far into the video, please go ahead and comment 25. You made it 25 minutes in. Appreciate the hell out of you guys, the ones that do come in here and watch all the way through. Like, that means, when I say that means a lot, like, I'm understating it. Obviously, people skip around. It's YouTube. I get it. Attention spans in 2024. But, like, I build and make and edit and record these videos in the hopes that someone's watching it from start to finish, right? Like, I don't create the video thinking they're going to skip around. So I appreciate the people that do watch through, and I love all the comments about people, part of their routine and whatnot, because it's part of my routine, certainly, and I love the community we're building. So, I say that I love it. That's literally an understatement. I can't put into words how much I do love it. But enough of that sappy stuff. Let's get back into this. St. Louis taking on Milwaukee. Looks like it's going to be Kyle Gibson going up against Tobias Myers. Yesterday, we cashed the Nerfy in this game. Milwaukee wins it 3-2. In this spot, I think the St. Louis Cardinals should be able to bounce back. I like, to some degree, Tobias Myers, but overall, I think that this is a good Cardinal spot here at home. They're not very good offensively. We've seen Tobias Myers be decent on the road, and Milwaukee has the better offense, but I wouldn't be taking this if I was fully confident in Milwaukee's offense, right? But I'm just not. Like, this is a spot in which Milwaukee has been scoring a bunch of runs, and then all of a sudden they go dormant. And to me, even winning 3-2 yesterday, like, look at Milwaukee's last 3 games: 3 runs, 2 runs, 2 runs. I think the Cardinals can pull out of that one. They scored 5 and 6 in their last 2 or first 2 games against the Dodgers. Now they've just been a little bit cold. I think that they can get to Tobias Myers today. And one really good thing is that in 92 plate appearances against for Gibson here, he's got an average against of 222 and an AWOBA of 310. So he could have a decent game. So I'm going to lean towards St. Louis, which also makes me slightly lean towards the under, because I think that if this is an over game, Milwaukee probably wins. If this game sticks around that 4-3, 4-2 range, 5-2, I think that St. Louis is the team that comes out on top. All right, Cubs taking on Detroit. I don't think we have a confirmed starter for Detroit. I've seen Kenta Maeda's name thrown around, so that is in our dashboard right now, but it's not confirmed. Jameson Taillon on the mound for the Cubs. Cubs pull it out yesterday, 3-1. I want to say that they were down early, right? 1-0, if I'm not mistaken, but they pull it out. I like them again today. The one thing that I will say is that this hasn't been the most consistent team, but they've been winning games. 6 of their last 10 games. They've won 3 of their last 4. So give them a little credit there. I don't love the odds at -162, obviously, but we don't even know who's pitching for the Tigers yet. So I like the Cubs, and I really can't speak to the over without knowing specifically who's pitching. I don't mind the over if Maeda's on the mound, but overall, we'll wait to see who's on the mound for Detroit confirmed before we end up potentially placing anything. But regardless, I think I like the Cubs, no matter who's pitching, because fastball, Detroit's dead last when it comes to hitting the fastball, runs above average at least, and that's Jameson Taillon's main pitch. So, yeah, could be a spot for Chicago, but still some question marks here. All right, Kansas City taking on the Angels here, the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Michael Lorenzen on the mound, going up against who is listed as the starter, Johnny Cueto. So when I say this, I'm like, who the heck knows what's going to happen, right? This guy has had a long career. He has not pitched this season. I think he's been pitching in the minors, if I'm not mistaken. He's looked okay in the minors, but that's the minors. This guy at one time had like a huge, big name, and all of a sudden he's coming out of nowhere to start. So to me, I probably end up saying, hey, screw it. Let's look at the Royals on the money line, but they're super priced out. So I'd also lean towards Royals team total over. That gives us a chance to potentially have Cueto come in and be like shell-shocked, right? But also we don't have to back Michael Lorenzen, which isn't necessarily my favorite spot. Now, the problem with this is you're going to need 5 runs minimum from Kansas City to see anything worth it in terms of odds. Over 4.5 is minus 150, so that's tough there. I'm going to lean towards the full game over as well. Royals go out there and score a bunch of runs, and then I don't necessarily think Lorenzen's going to have like an absolutely shut down performance against this Angels team, right? Like he might, but I just don't love him all that much. So yeah, Kansas City team total over, but we've been kind of priced out in this matchup here. But it'll be interesting to see what Cueto does. All right, Oakland taking on Tampa Bay. Some discussion here, or I guess confusion on who's starting, but I think we've landed on Ryan Pepe Le Pew Papa for Tampa Bay. Mitch Spence on the mound for Oakland. Both these guys actually have decent numbers against the current teams that they're going up against in terms of roster, but super, super small sample sizes. In this spot, I think I'm going to look at Oakland yet again. I'm still following that sort of strategy, and we've only capitalized on it, 1 or 2 times out of all the leans that we've given on it, but Tampa Bay against righties, still not my favorite. And we're going to see a ton of cutters from Mitch Spence. That's his main pitch. And Tampa Bay does not hit the cutter very well. 27th in the league right now. Last 30 days at least. Runs above average per 100 cutters seen. And against just righties in general, 29th in terms of average, 28th in OPS, 28th in ISO, 29th in slugging. I'm not sitting here saying Oakland's offense is absolutely cooking and anything like that. They're kind of middle of the pack, maybe somewhat behind the middle of the pack. But overall, this is a spot in which Oakland has lost 3 of their last 4. They lost yesterday only in a 1-0 game. I think that they can go out there and maybe put up more runs than Tampa Bay today. So I'm fading the Rays against a righty and looking at a plus money home team today. In terms of the total, I still don't think it's going to be that high scoring of a game, so I'll lean towards the under, but I'd much rather just say set it, bet it, and forget it on Oakland, and then just see if that happens if we were to get to the window with this one as a final play. All right, Flaherty and the Dodgers taking on Gilbert and the Mariners here. This should be a good matchup. The total's down at 8, which I feel like we might be getting a little gift here because I like the under. We've seen so far in the series a 3-0 game and then a 6-3 game, so it just barely went over. And those were with 2 worst pitchers on the mound, right? But that being said, this only dropping 1 from yesterday is a little concerning. Like, do the books think more runs are going to come in than we're picturing? The Dodgers 2-1 since Flaherty has been on their team. He hasn't looked tremendous. His first start, he looked really good, but that was against Oakland. Then he went up against Pittsburgh. Then he went up against Milwaukee and looked human. On the other hand, Logan Gilbert has a couple throwaway starts in his last 5, but overall, we know how good this dude has been. In my opinion, this is going to be a low-scoring game. I think I'm going to lean towards the first 5 under in this spot, and that's going to be the main one. I'm hoping that Gilbert can kind of keep this LA team off the board, which he's been okay at in the past, and Jack Flaherty has some really good numbers against Seattle as well. So in terms of what we can get for a first 5 under, the total here, what we're looking at is, I saw under 4.5 for minus 140. That's probably my main spot here. If I had to roll with a money line play, I think I got to look at the Dodgers. They've just looked a little bit better in this series. Like, I thought Seattle, this was a day for them to bounce back yesterday, and they didn't even score. 3 runs, something like that, and they got to Buehler. So to me, this just is a spot in which the Dodgers are showing up the better offense, have the better bullpen, and today they have a comparable starter, which isn't something you can always say when going up against Seattle here. They have like 5 guys that would be 1 or 2s on a lot of other teams. But nonetheless, guys, that is going to wrap for today's show. Hope you guys did enjoy it. You know what to do if you did. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well. FYI, tomorrow's video should be a normal formatted video, but I am going to Michigan for a wedding for 3 days, so I think we should have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, if we can. We're traveling early on Sunday. 3 road videos. So, you know, I have 3 weddings in the next 4 weeks. So it's going to be tough to stay consistent here, but we will do our best, and we are going to stay consistent. I just mean with the full breakdown videos. You know what I mean? Like those road videos, I love doing them, but obviously I love doing this format a lot more. But nonetheless, don't need to get into that now. We'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.